10 stocks to watch in the month of October. What is happening, investors? It is your boy Jack. I am not a financial advisor. I got the clothing line to prove that fact. And today we're going to speak about some stocks, baby. So we have 10 companies to speak about. So the first 5 companies we're going to speak about in today's video all have a big catalyst coming either the very end of September or in October at some stage. And then the last 5 companies we're going to speak about are just companies that I think are worth keeping an eye on in the month of October for one reason or another. October is historically the most volatile month of the year in the stock market, so be ready for some moves. And given the circumstances we live in right now, it could be pretty crazy. I mean, for one, we have the upcoming presidential election. There are fears of a second lockdown across many parts of the world. Economies are doing quite poorly despite the fact we are getting better, and there is an awful lot of earnings reports for massive companies coming out. But stocks only go up, so who really cares about all that? But really guys, it more than likely will be quite a volatile month, so just be ready. I'm not going to change anything, you know, I'm still going to invest the same way I always do. I'm still going to look at the same companies that I really like. Just because it's more volatile doesn't mean that anything has to change. If you haven't seen one of these videos before, we're going to go through everything really quickly just because, you know, there's 10 companies. It would take all day long to do a full analysis. And I promised Brian that I'd take him out later on today, so, you know, I have to have a bit of free time. So before we get into the first company, could I please ask you to hit that juicy like button, guys? It really helps me in the channel out. If you're new around here, please hit that juicy red subscribe button, my friend, and join the family. We're on the road to 50,000 subs. And drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you are watching next week and in October in particular. Anyway guys, into the first company. I would like to start it off with Hyliion. One of the companies that I think, at least in my community, is going to have the most eyes on it next week out of any company in the entire market. Shell merger date, okay? Monday. Now that does not necessarily mean that the merger is going to go through on Monday, but it will be voted about, and it more than likely will happen in the day or two preceding that event. And when the merger goes through, in general, in the short term at the very least, we can expect the stock price to go up in value. So it's been a crazy journey for Hyliion, okay? We were up 200% initially, we dipped back down a whole lot. We've been up as much as 446%, and from the very tops, we've dropped back down about 20% in value. But an awful lot of people got in these guys around the $20 mark, so there's still a lot of people out there who've made a whole lot of money. And in regards to Hyliion, I got sent this article in my Discord group earlier. So as electric truck startup Hyliion goes public, the founder is set to be America's youngest self-made billionaire. That is sick. Very happy for Thomas Healy. So at $42 a share, okay, the implied equity market cap of the new Hyliion company comes in at $6.7 billion. That's a lot of dollars, people. And Healy owns 22.9% of the company, which will be worth nearly 1.5 billion. That is sick. And it could well be far more than that. I mean, I don't think any of us would be surprised if Hyliion was back at $50, $55 before market close on Monday. It could, I know it's a massive ask, but it could happen. You never know. But even at these prices, that's a massive implied market cap. And it's going to be very exciting, guys. It really is going to be exciting. I cannot wait to see what happens. I am a shareholder. I have a $20 cost basis. I don't plan on selling. I also don't have the biggest position in the world, but this is definitely one to keep your eyes on, people. I mean, second up, we have the beautiful, we have my baby, we have Diamond Peak Holdings Corp. So these guys got slaughtered the last few days as part of the broader market and particularly EV sell-off, okay? So from the peaks, we're now down 23.92%. But on the monthly chart even, we're still up nearly 50%. This bloodbath wasn't as bad as a lot of people have made it out to be, in all honesty. I mean, they're still up 50% on the monthly chart. You can't ask much more, in all fairness. That is something that a lot of investors would be happy making in 2 years, even 3 years for some people. So yes, the sell-off was horrible and it was fast, but these things happen. And I mean, it was the first major sell-off we saw since going public, so we can't really complain in my opinion. So EV stocks and SPAC stocks in particular all got hit really hard last week, somewhat because of Jim Cramer and also somewhat because of this, okay, SEC plans greater scrutiny. It's all going to be fine. We've seen things happen like this. It was a buying opportunity in my opinion. I did buy these companies, I did buy Workhorse, but the merger for Lordstown Motors may go through in October. Now, if you do go to the press release, it says the transaction is expected to close in the 4th quarter of 2020, but there's speculation it'll be October. But at the end of the day, who knows? Either way, definitely a company worth keeping your eye on. When these guys were $17 a share, I named them the most undervalued EV company in the world. I do still think with a long-term mindset, even at $23, $24, $25, this company is very undervalued. We have 40,000 pre-orders. We're going to have the first to market advantage. It's awesome. Also, I did interview the CEO of this company, so if you would like to check that out and get loads of juicy information, I'll have that in the corner of the screen for you. Virgin Galactic. A lot of you probably know why we're going to be keeping a very close eye on these guys in October. It's because of this right here, okay? Virgin Galactic plans their next space flight for October 22nd. Now, I do believe this is actually when a window for that flight happens, so it may not actually be October 22nd, it may be the day or two after it, but it will be in October, and there will be 2 more all together, and then hopefully the first quarter of next year, Richard Branson goes to space. I've been saying it on the channel for a while now, guys. Anything in the $15 I think is really good value, and anything under $17 I think is a buy long term. I think this is a company where more than likely we're either going to make 300+% in the next couple of years, or we're going to lose 50+%. And then in the longer time frames, I definitely think there is potential for this to be a 10xer. I really do. That is obviously a considerable amount further down the line, and a lot of really good things have to happen. But I mean, I've been saying it lately, I do think Virgin Galactic has some of the biggest growth potential in the entire market right now. And with that, of course, does come the risk, but definitely worth keeping an eye on in October. I think a lot more people are going to start making videos on them again, you know, to get the views, probably myself included, but I have been making videos on them for a long time. I do think an awful lot of the mainstream media is going to start covering them more and more often. I just think there's going to be a lot of hype built up to this test flight October 22nd, so definitely worth keeping an eye on. This is actually another one I've bought more consistently than any other company over the last few weeks, I would say. I think I've bought them every single week. I picked up 50 more shares this week, so yeah, I'm liking them. Apple stock, baby. I mean, what is there to say? Horrific, right? From our highs, we are still down 16.32%, which for a company like Apple is really, really bad. Now, with that being said, yet again, if you go to a broader time frame, on the 6-month chart, they're up over 73%. Which is incredible for the company that has the biggest market cap in the entire world. I mean, there is no denying that. Now, why do I think they're particularly worth watching right now? Well, for one, I mean, this kind of dip. We don't see this kind of dip with Apple all that often, okay? I mean, if you go back to the 5-year chart, the main one we'll actually see is, you know, the Roni crash. There was another very considerable dip here, but aside from that, there's not really been many, so they don't come very, very often. And now there is speculation, okay, that Apple's iPhone 12 event could happen on October 13th. Now, this is complete speculation and based on rumors, but I do think it would make a lot of sense for it to come at some stage in October. Of course, there's no guarantees, but if we look back through what Apple's done in the past, it's already been delayed. I would expect this announcement to be October time. That would potentially mean they could get it out by the end of this year, which would be very good for them. And I am an Apple investor, you know, they're definitely one of my favorite big tech stocks. It's pretty much Apple, Facebook, and Amazon. So I do think after seeing a considerable dip like this, they're at a nice price, guys. And I mean, even at this kind of a market cap, the biggest market cap in the world, they only trade at a 34 PE ratio, which traditionally is very high, but given the times we live in right now, is not even that high, and this is for Apple. So well worth keeping an eye on. I know a lot of people have set a $100 price target. I was one of those people, you know what I mean, but I really don't know if we're going to hit it now, in all honesty. We'll have to see what happens. There's always a chance, I suppose. But I do think there are a lot of people with buy orders set at $100 just because, you know, it's a very, very round number. It represents another 10% downside. It would have been very close to 25 or so % from the top. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And the last stock who, you know, has a potential catalyst coming is Workhorse. So that catalyst is obviously the USPS contract. A lot of people thought it was going to happen by the end of the fiscal year, which would have been September 30th, and that was myself included, and I still hope it will. But at the end of the day, we are running out of time. The next dates we're looking towards is around October 14th to 16th. Right now, that could be a little bit more realistic, and then the other time frame we have is by the end of the calendar year. So there definitely is a chance that this absolutely massive contract gets announced either in the next week or some stage in October. Well, I mean, I don't want to waste time going through Workhorse. I cover these guys so much. You can go check out my latest video on them if you want. It's over 20 minutes long. It's a lot of information. It covers how much the contract is actually worth. We go through the time frames. We go through their improved range. You already know, guys. I got you covered for Workhorse. So they're the 5 companies that have, you know, upcoming catalysts. Now, there are 5 more companies that I personally just want to keep an eye on. Upwork, okay, a company I've still spoken about so many times on the channel, and I still haven't pulled the trigger on for some reason, and I have missed out absolutely massively. Now, to be fair, on the monthly chart, not an awful lot had happened until literally yesterday when they shot up 9.65%, baby. That's very nice. They are literally less than 5% away from all-time highs, and again, these guys haven't really seen any massive dips. Usually any dip comes after a big up move, but it's a company who on the 6-month chart is up 176%. They only have a market cap of $2 billion. Genuinely think these guys have a whole lot of growth potential going forwards. I really don't know why I haven't invested yet, in all honesty. I know so many of you guys have, and I know so many of you guys have made a lot of money. Nearly everybody investing in this company is up. And I mean, what Upwork does is really easy to understand. You know what they say on their website: in-demand talent on demand. Upwork is how. Hire proven pros with confidence using the world's largest remote talent platform. And you know, a time might come where I want to buy a video editor or somebody to do my thumbnails, and this would be the first place I'd come. I would come here before Fiverr because it just seems a whole lot more professional. I've spoken to people, I've spoken to other YouTubers who use services on this website, and everybody has only had good things to say. And it stands for what I love. I mean, the people on these websites are entrepreneurs, or you know, they're trying to get out of the rat race. They're all wanting to work really hard to make you happy so that they can, you know, be self-sufficient. It's kind of like the same way I work on YouTube, you know what I mean? These guys are just doing it on a different website. I really love the business model, I love everything about them, and it's just one of those annoying companies that I keep just somewhat putting off to the side, and every time I come back and look at them, I'm like, why haven't I pulled the trigger yet? So in regards to opening a new position, I'm very much so contemplating with this one. If you saw yesterday's video, you know I spent a lot more money than usual this week, so I don't know how much I'm going to invest next week, but it is such an interesting company. I think it's about time that, you know, I just decide, am I investing or not, or else I'm going to keep upsetting myself every time I look at that stock chart. Jeez, here's a company nobody's really cared about since March. It actually is Carnival Cruise Corp. I know, I'm not joking, I'm not lying. What I'm talking about here is, you know, a very long-term value play. It is very different to what I generally invest in, okay? And I am by no means saying I am going to invest in these in October, because I would say there is a 90% chance I won't. But with that being said, I am trying to, you know, look for some more value plays. I still find it difficult to invest in them, but I know in order to be a better investor, I need to do it. So the cruise line industry and the airline industry are two industries that, you know, would now be considered industries to have a value plays that I would know the most about. I've been interested in Carnival for a while. I mean, I remember watching all of this happen, watching this crash. It was crazy. YouTube was a different place then. I had like 1,000 subs. Every YouTuber was speaking about Carnival. It was a fun time. I'm sure a lot of you guys will remember it. But then, you know, the buzz wore off. You know, people stopped really caring about them all that much, and we realized that it's just going to have to be a slow process for these guys. Now look, I'll be the first one to tell you, I am too heavily invested in growth stocks and speculative stocks. It's just who I am as a person. It's what I get more enjoyment investing in. I know that I have to diversify a little bit more, and by diversify I don't even mean sectors. I just mean that I need to get into more value plays and even some dividend plays maybe. Now don't get me wrong, my portfolio is always going to be heavily growth orientated, but I do want to dedicate some of my time to at least considering some other plays. So again, I want to make it extra clear. The odds of me buying these guys in October are extremely low, but I know a lot of you guys are value investors, you know what I mean? So I do genuinely think this could be offering a good opportunity, but I do also think this is a very long-term hold. I mean, I don't think you would see really nice returns for 3+ years more than likely, because even when things are back to normal, this company isn't going to be in the same position it once was, okay? And when things were normal, they were, you know, about a $50 a share company on their best days. They're not going to be back to $50 even if all goes well for a few years, in my opinion. But it is just one I wanted to speak about, just because, you know, I've actually seen a few more people speaking about it lately. Even in my Discord again, a few people have been bringing it up, and I think it's a fair value play. I really do. I probably still would edge towards the side of airlines. What I will say is, I would love to go on a cruise right now. I have never been on a cruise. Given the last few months and nobody being able to do anything, imagine a cruise. How fun would that be? Another one, I just have to speak about this because it's insane. So we're looking at SPCE, okay? This is a SPAC. They're merging with Chargepoint. A lot of you guys will know this. So this has been announced as a definitive merger, and again, I am an investor in this company. Friday we went up 11%. This is another company who did get hit by the broader market and EV sell-off. They were down about 15%. But I mean, it's a SPAC, okay? We were at about 10.45 before we got the news, and now we're up about 32%, which is decent, but it's nothing crazy, especially not for this company and the prospects they have, the growth they have shown over the last 3 to 4 years, and the prospects we have for the next 5 years, especially considering the cash position we're going to have at the end of this merger. I think it's really exciting, and I do have a feeling that in regards to SPACs, it's going to be quite a big month for Switchback. I think SPACs are slowing down a lot in general, especially some of the more boring ones like Multiplan merging with CCXX. Another one I am invested in, but I also acknowledge it's not going to do very much more than likely. This is one of the few SPACs who I do think could make some big moves soon. So the company is currently valued at about $2.4 billion, and it brings net proceeds of $493 million to the company. We can see volume through the roof. Obviously it is a SPAC, it's a relatively new SPAC, but our average volume being 900,000, our Friday volume was 7 million. It's an exciting company, I will put it that way. Okay, and we have another one of my favorites, okay? We have Facebook stock. Everybody who's been on the channel for a while will know I love these guys. From the highs, we're down 15% or so, which isn't by any means an absolutely massive dip, but they're not performing well by any means. And even on the 6-month chart, okay, these guys are up 56%, which again, absolutely fantastic, but it's nothing insane, not for what some of the other big tech companies have done. I've made my stance on Facebook very clear in the past. I love these guys. Definitely think these guys could be worth a few $1 trillion down the line, which still offers immense upside potential. Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram. Everybody watching this, I would bet, has at least one of those or uses one of those every single day. I mean, I use all of them every single day. They have grown every single month, literally forever since 2012. They have survived ad boycotts numerous times. You know, it's been a bit of a weird year for them in general. It has been for everybody, but for Facebook, definitely. When you think about Facebook, how they make money, it's ads. Don't really like using Investor Place very much, but 3 big reasons to buy the September dip in Facebook stock, just to make it really simple. Ad spending is on the cusp of rebounding in a big way in 2021. I think that's very true. I would find it very hard to argue that. Think about it logically. A lot of the money that goes to Facebook is from small startup businesses. And I don't mean, you know, small startups as in companies who go public at a few $100 million valuations. I mean people like me or you creating a business that's worth 1,000 or a few thousand. You know, a lot of people will dedicate their money to Facebook advertising. Not a lot of people can afford to start businesses right now. A lot of small to mid-sized businesses even have been forced to close down. So of course they're not advertising. When things get back to normal, everybody has to advertise again, they run straight back to Facebook. Instagram Reels will provide a huge engagement and revenue tailwind for Facebook over the next few quarters. Yeah, Instagram Reels will be good. And Facebook stock is attractively undervalued ahead of those upside catalysts, and I agree, I do think it's undervalued. It's just one of those companies, I think if you're willing to hold them for a long period of time, you're gonna make money. You know, if you hold Facebook for 5 years, you're making money. I don't think there's much more that needs to be said than that. They also just have the most disgustingly beautiful balance sheet that you will see in your entire life. Okay, and there's just one more company, and we're just going to speak about them. Kind of because I feel inclined to speak about them because of everything that's happened. It's Tesla, guys. I mean, wow, what a disappointing week it was for us Tesla investors, right? Battery Day wasn't disappointing. Battery Day was incredible. What the stock market did was disappointing. So from highs, we are down close to 20%, and that is after a 5% rally on Friday. We're currently sitting at about $400 a share, which to me, in regards to Tesla, is somewhere in no man's land. Because I feel like there's a lot of people who have price targets of $500 to $600 in the short term, and then there's a lot of people who want to buy Tesla at $250 to $300. So as we're going to float around $400 to $450, I think it's going to be relatively slow. With that being said, guys, I mean, it's Tesla. I mean, that 5-year chart. Ooh, baby, they're up so much money. And I genuinely think it's not going to stop. It's not even going to slow down, really, in all honesty. They've always had their ups and downs. They've always had 20, 30, 40% swings. That is never going to change, in my opinion. But I think the longer you hold them, the more likely you are to make a whole lot of money. So for me, where do I stand on Tesla? I'm still just holding my shares. I don't plan on buying any more unless we approach the 300s. And I mean the very, very low 300s. I don't plan on selling. I don't really ever plan on selling. I still think 400 at long term is a very fair price. Massively volatile company. I don't like saying it's high risk because I actually don't think it's high risk if you're willing to hold for a long enough time. I mean, if you've done the due diligence, if you've done the research, you could look into Tesla stock 24 hours a day and still not know everything there is to know. But if you have done the research and you really do understand Tesla, I think it's still a fine buy long term. I really, really do. So I don't know what's going to happen in October. I mean, with the price action we've seen, Elon Musk could definitely try and make something happen. But that is 10 stocks to watch, people. But anyway, guys, there we have it. 10 juicy companies that I think are worth keeping your eye on, you know, next week and in October in general. A lot of which I own and a lot of which I want to own more of. If you watched the video till the end, as always, you, my friend, are a true legend, and I really do appreciate you being here. Your support genuinely means the world to me, and the support on the channel as of late has been nuts, so just genuinely thank you for being here. If you did enjoy, could I please ask you to hit that like button, drop me a comment and subscribe if you're new around here, and also if you're interested, hit the first link in my description and sign up to become a Patreon. You will get full access to my private Discord group, and in that group, you know, you will get access to my buy and sell alerts, loads of different channels in regards to new stocks to watch. We have SPAC stocks, dividends, growth, value, individual stocks, everything you can think of. We even have juicy memes. But anyway, guys, I hope you all have a fantastic day. I will see you for another video soon. Peace.